What up? Glad y'all can tune in. Glad y'all came back. How we feeling? What's going on? Welcome to the Keep It a Buck podcast with your host, Saani. Podcast about relationships, black men's emotions, God, self-awareness, and black women's value within our culture. You put all that together, and that's what run the world, even if they don't want to tell you that. But let's start with that temperature check. How we doing? You know, it's only a couple more episodes where I'm going to actually explain this again. But when I ask you how you doing, I want you to verbally say it and be honest. It ain't good all the time. You know, people ask you that in passing all the time. How you doing? I'm actually asking, how are you doing? All right. Well, if we need to formulate a plan to get that better, or if it's already good, keep doing your thing or go help somebody else. But if we need to formulate a plan, ain't nothing like a plan. You got to put a plan to everything. You ain't never heard a success story without a plan. So just start step one of your plan to feeling better, whatever that is, whether it's recovery or therapy or having a conversation, whatever it is. Just start that step one. But today's topic can get a little sort of lighten the mood. We're going to go ahead and start with the you play too much. And this time, it's not me. It's not me. But it's your man's Wells. It's Wells. If you know me, you know Wells. Salute, Wells. This one goes out to you because it was your story. So Wells gonna keep a job, man. Wells gonna always provide. Wells worked at a bunch of places when he was younger. What restaurant was this? Was it Logan's? I believe, yeah. It was Logan's, and he was a dishwasher. So you know how that intrusive, impulsive thought. Like I have them all the time, and I talk too much. So a lot of the time, my intrusive and impulsive thoughts, I be having them at the grocery store, and I just be wanting to tell people. And sometimes I tell people. I told this dude at the gym. This game I was refereeing, he was walking by. He had his sweatshirt and he had it tied around his waist. And as we was walking by each other, I just told him, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. And I just kept walking. Now, this man was at least twice my age. But still. No, he wasn't that old. But don't do that. You could have left it at the seat. Don't do that. Okay? That wasn't my place. But anyway, back to Wells and your impulsive, intrusive thoughts. He was a dishwasher at Logan's. He's probably 20 at the time. And I was a dishwasher before, and if you've never been a dishwasher at a restaurant, how it works is like an L shape. So you spray the dishes off with this hot water, like a power washer. You spray them off first, right, with just water. Then you put them on something, then they got to go through this cleaning machine, right? It's like an L shape. So something happened to the machine. But the dude Wells is working with, been working at the restaurant for years. And before this restaurant, you know what I'm saying, he was a dishwasher at another restaurant. That's his calling card. He 50 years old. He already knows stuff. He know how to fix stuff that just the machine techs supposed to know how to fix. I got it. So the machine went down, and he went in there to fix it. And when he went in to fix it, he was bending over fixing it, and his crack was out. And and Wells could not help himself. Don't y'all know Wells took that? I told y'all about that hot washer, that power washer. It's the water hot, y'all. It was on because you got to press a button. That's how hard it come out. Nigga sprayed his ass. He sprayed his ass crack. He sprayed his ass crack, man. I was probably a first degree burn. And he said my man popped straight up. Then he said this. This is the funniest part. He said this. He said, oh, why you do that, young blood? So this week's Play Too Much, It Ain't Me. It's your man's Wells. He didn't have to do that. This one's called Hot Crack. And he sprayed that older gentleman's ass crack with that burning water all for a joke. And let me be the first one to tell you. Let me get serious for a second. Let me be the first one to tell y'all. Honestly. It was fucking worth it. Okay, fuck his ass crack. Pause. No diddy. But it was worth it, okay? And that's why I need y'all to keep on emailing me. Y'all been emailing me some stuff, but I need the juicy stuff. I need the stuff where you really play too much and you shouldn't have done it. Like when I kicked Rome in the nuts. When he was giving me a 5 at the end of the night. Once again, I apologize. But was it worth it? Did you say a funny line at the end? He said that, I never seen it coming. I apologize again. But yeah, if y'all got any stories where you play too much, go ahead and email the show right here and we'll get to it. But all right, today's topic, like I said, it can be an iffy one. But kind of surprising when I brought it up over the years and I was just thinking about it, talking about it, because it's not just my friends, my close friend group, but the birds and the bees. Remember, that used to be like a thing in shows and movies, the conversation, the birds and the bees. We all know what birds and the bees is because it came from a thing. The birds and the bees conversation, right? And I want to honestly ask y'all, and I got the numbers back on my pod so I can see I can see the age and who's listening. Appreciate all y'all. But I want to honestly ask y'all, how many of us got the talk? Did you get the birds and the bees talk from your parents? Or any adult from that point. But I mean, that gets tricky. But did you have the birds and bees talk? I mean, did somebody have the birds and bees talk with you? Honestly. Because every time I ask one of my friends or somebody like, yo, who had the birds and bees talk with you? Nobody. I'm talking about from 2-parent households, everything. Hey, did your dad have the birds and bees? Some people might say, yeah, he told me, you know what I'm saying, use condoms. He said, don't get nobody pregnant. And or yeah, my mama told me the same thing with the ladies. Well, she said, don't get nobody pregnant. I ain't finna take care of nobody, baby. Did you have the birds and bees talk though? No, not really. They think about it? No, not really. So now I'm asking y'all, the viewing public, did you have the birds and the bees talk growing up? And I don't know what your answer is, but we'll get to it throughout the podcast. But for me, it was no. For my brother, it was no. And not to put his personal business out, but when he was younger, he was sort of a ladies' man. So that was kind of dangerous. But in a lot of my close friends and a lot of people I ask, it's no. And why is that? I don't understand. It's actually weird. Honestly, it's actually weird. As much as we fucking like to talk in this country, that's all you fucking do is talk. That's my problem. But as much as we like to talk, everybody got an opinion. But ain't nobody had the birds and the bees talk. You ain't got no love for Snoop and Death Row on the East Coast. Ain't nobody had to talk. And I don't know what your answer is, but we'll get to it throughout the podcast. But for me, it was no. For my brother, it was no. And not to put his personal business out, but when he was younger, he was sort of a ladies' man. So that was kind of dangerous. But in a lot of my close friends and a lot of people I ask, it's no. And why is that? I don't understand. It's actually weird. Honestly, it's actually weird. As much as we fucking like to talk in this country, that's all you fucking do is talk. That's my problem. But as much as we like to talk, everybody got an opinion. But ain't nobody had the birds and the bees talk. You ain't got no love for Snoop and Death Row on the East Coast. Ain't nobody had to talk. So I got to think about generationally, because I didn't know this either. I had to look it up. The baby boomers. So I was thinking, was it how are we being raised to the point where we're not having to talk and that's so frequent? How are we being raised? What's going on? I remember seeing it in movies a lot more prevalent when I was younger. So it used to be a thing. I don't even see that in show premises and everything. You know, you sit down on the end of the bed. They had a conversation. I'm sure it happened on the Cosby's. I don't really see that anymore. So I'm like, all right, well, what changed? So I'm just got to think about the generations. And if you don't know, because I didn't, the baby boomer generation is from 1946 to 1964. So that's probably your parents if you in your 40s. The baby boomers are from 46 to 64. Generation X, born in 1965 to 1980. That's a little bit right before my time. Generation X is 1965 to 1980. Millennials, and I can't believe I'm this, is because I used to talk about millennials. I thought it was the young niggas, the YNs. Millennials is 1981 to 1996, and if you ask me, we won. I don't know how we did, but we won, dog. But I'll go back to that another time. But I'm saying we got from 81 to 96. We got kind of like the advent of hip hop. We got the NBA growing. We got one more thing, but I digress. Millennials, 1981 to 1996. And Generation Z was born 2013. No, what? It's got to be 1997 to 2013, but I ain't talking to them. Well, we are going to talk about them. I ain't talking to them. So, I mean, I guess we were raised different in 46 and 64. They had more kids. I don't know if that mattered. And people were getting married a lot younger and a lot more frequent. And I don't even know if that matters. I'm just trying to figure out what's the difference and why did it stop happening? But like, what was our parents actually doing in these eras? So does that matter? Like, did they work more? Like, why was it more frequent for them to have the birds and bees conversation back in the day? I feel like they would be home more. But one thing we forget or we don't think about, like as technology grows and access to things grow, that's when people just become people. So if it's more access for people, then as a parent, I have more access to do things. So I may choose to do other things where I used to be home. Now I can go do this. They started this league, or I can go here, or it's just, or I can spend more time on the internet. Like, the internet did not start, especially social media didn't start with parents. When social media started, parents weren't on there. Y'all do realize that, right? That's us. We became the parents. And then halfway through, our parents joined. And I'm so glad my mom ain't got no damn Instagram. I am not following you. But social media was not for parents. But yet, a lot of parents, I'm a parent. You're a parent. A lot of parents are on social media. It was never for parents. So I'm saying as we get more access to things change. I mean, I've been guilty of just running up, scrolling through videos, and my son saying something, I might just take it as some bullshit and be like, all right, hold on, then get back to him, whatever. But yeah, it's not even for parents, yet parents use it. So maybe we doing something different. Like, what are we doing different? So the birds and the bees talk. Already asked, did your parents have it with you? Did you have it with your kids? Because like I just said, we parents. So now I'm asking you, did you have the birds and bees talk with your kids? And how did that look and how did that sound? And if you did, you should probably share that with your friends and people, because I think that that's a rarity if you did have that conversation. And my question is, let's start out. We're going to start breaking it down. When is the right time, age-wise? Because our favorite thing to say, people's favorite thing to say is times is changing. Man, it ain't times is changing. And I used to resist that. But them YNs, man, y'all, it's just, they don't care. They don't care, dog. Ain't no time you can go back in history where, like, what, the French Revolution, none of that. The Civil War, niggas always cared a little bit. And you always hear people talking like, well, I wouldn't have been no slave. Yeah, right. You'd have complied. These YNs, so what's that? The Generation Z, they the only ones I believe if they say, oh, I wouldn't have been no slaves. Man, them young niggas would have took over the joint, been playing drill music out the second floor of the of the main house, and you know they got white girls in the video. Them Gen Z niggas wouldn't have been no slaves for real. I'm saying though, you want me to pick out what you doing though? Cuz you ain't doing shit. Hey, hold up. They gonna squad up. It's more gangs than ever. They gonna figure it out. Hey, all we need is 8 of us. Some of y'all ain't gonna make it. Oh, it's cool. I'm down to die for it. Them YNs ain't playing. Y'all better be aware them YNs ain't playing. I told you I make peace with them. Yo, what's good? Oh, nice shoes, bro. Oh shit. Whatever. Stay out them YNs way. But when is the right time to talk to your child about sex? And I don't think we gonna all come on to a one age, because I don't think that's fair to do. But man, I'm just personally, so you can have your own answer. Like, we're not gonna work off my answer, but I don't even want to answer that right now. I guess I just ask you, when is the right age? When y'all think? Because you don't want to do it too young, because you don't want to expose your kid to sex. One, because they not gonna understand it, and it may just become like a fear thing. And two, you just don't want to bring that up on their thought process if it hasn't or wasn't approaching. And then you don't want to do it too late, because if you do it too late, that means somebody had already done it, and it wasn't you. Understand that. If you do it too late or don't do it at all, know that they had a talk or talked about it, but it wasn't with you. So that alone, for me, that's scary. Like, my kids is talking about sex, and you know what? This happened when I was working at Amazon, and I'm talking to this young chick. She probably, I don't know, 21. Man, I think, and I was on a binge watching the Chris Hansen shit and all that too. So she talking, and maybe she talking about her dating situation or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm an honest guy, so she already knew me from working there months. I'm gonna be honest or whatever. And I'm having a conversation with her, and then I realized some of this game that I'm giving her, she's 20, 21. My daughter was 16, 17. And then I got to think about, and she talking like online, and I'm like, damn. And it was right then in that moment. I mean, I know you should understand this prior, but it was right then in that moment where I realized grown men have access to my daughter. There ain't no age verification or none of that on Instagram. If it is now, it wasn't back then. So your profile, your explore page, they show, even if maybe that's somebody's niece and that's how they got there or whatever, a grown man can run across your kid's profile. And it was in that moment that I realized, God damn, grown men have access to my daughter. And I've always been open and honest with her, but I just had an epiphany, like, fuck, like, it's real. It ain't just the boys at school. It ain't just the boys that come to her job. It ain't just the boys. What's the name of the group? And say goodbye to what? Boys to men, nigga. Everybody in them DMs. And I had to go home and ask my daughter, like, I probably text her, like, do grown men ever, like, contact you in your DMs? And she was like, yeah. And she told me, I mean, I believe she's pretty honest with me, but who knows? But she was like, I mean, I don't really pay him no mind, but like, and then she said, well, like it's been like sugar daddies. I'm like, damn. Girls my age didn't have to worry about sugar daddies. Girls my age was getting picked up by niggas who graduated 2 years prior. That ain't a sugar daddy, and them niggas ain't had nothing yet but a car. So when I was growing up, so 16, I'm sorry, girls from my generation. We were 16, they dated older. They was dating niggas who was 19, 20, which is still crazy. 19, 20, and they had a car. Maybe had a job. They ain't really had shit to give like that. A sugar daddy? Like, and this is no disrespect to women because it's the same thing. Damn, see? I'll be honest with y'all. Other people ain't gonna be honest with y'all. Somebody sent a pic to the group thread, and it was a picture of Sexy Red. And she was like, dressed in something sexy. It was a photo shoot. And it said, niggas wouldn't stand a chance. And the guy who sent it was saying that. And I'm not really into hood girls like that. But in that picture, they were right. They were right. I'm saying that to say, in certain situations, like, you should always have self-discipline and self-control. But certain situations are harder than others. And it actually takes, that's what it means to be a man, growing past those situations to the point where you can go past those temptations where you don't fold. And I'm saying that to say women, it's a lot of women who, if they put in front of the right sugar daddy And not only do he got the money, he got the experience and know how to talk to women, whatever. It's a lot of women who I can't say, women, not little girls, who I can't say won't fold. When you around a certain status, and it's the same thing or work for me if I'm around a woman of a certain status or whatever, and like I really want on that type of timing, but she on that type of timing, I can't say that I won't fold. So if you're around somebody, you ain't never been around somebody with that type of money, and they willing to, you know what I'm saying, give it to you, because your parents ain't giving you that, your little job ain't giving you that. As a grown woman, if you're willing to fold, imagine how hard that is as a 16-year-old. And niggas can be lying on the internet, posing these like they got even more. They can act like they got millions, but they can just have 150,000 and make it look like they got $1 million. Especially to a 16-year-old. So I'm like, God damn. That's a lot of pressure not to fold up under. I should probably really advance the sex talks or like be more open and honest with them. But that was just an epiphany for me. So, but the age, for me, that was probably like 16 where it was like, all right. And I would have conversations. I ain't gonna make this about me as much, but like, well, do your friends talk about it? Because that'd be my thing. If you do not talk to your kids about sex, somebody gonna do it. And everybody who said that they didn't have a birds and bees talk, guess who they learned it from? Everybody who said they didn't have a birds and bees talk learned it from their mans or from their homegirl. That's who they learned it from. That's who I did. That's who you did. That's who my brother did. That's who everybody who I talked to, that's who they learned it from. They learned it from their friends. And I don't know if you know this. Well, you should not know as an adult. When you're a kid, you don't know shit. He can't tell you nothing because he don't know nothing because he was a baby. You can't learn from somebody who don't know what they talking about because they had sex one time and got lucky and didn't get nobody pregnant. You can't really learn about sex, what it means, none of that, from somebody your own age. Not when you growing up. They don't know nothing about it. And that's who a lot of us learned about sex from, was our peer group. And that's scary and it's stupid. And we're going to get down to why it happens. But it's, come on, guys. How stupid would it be for me to do something in my way past? That nigga R. Kelly was crazy. Unless they need some shoes. But it's stupid that we allowed our child's peers to teach them about sex. Or their first, which is another peer, to teach them about sex rather than us. And we're going to get down to why y'all do that. But it's crazy. So you find the right age on your own, but just make sure it ain't too late. And my second question is, does the sex of the child matter, meaning male or female? Does that matter to as when you have the conversation? I say yes, it's certain stereotypes and certain double standards that people don't agree with, some that I don't, but hey, they live. I say yes. Stereotypical or not, it probably makes a difference. You know what? Yeah, it does. I think, so we can go back and forth about, I'm going to take that back, about the sex. Does it matter? To me, it doesn't probably. I would probably still have it at the same point in that child's life, whether it's my son or it's my daughter. And I'm fortunate enough to have a daughter and a son. My daughter who's grown now. So proud of her. Wouldn't that be another thing? Like, damn, you grown? She's grown now. Like, you know what I'm saying? All she do is work, go to school, on the dean's list. So proud of her. And I got a youngster who's 8 years old. So he hasn't got to that point yet. But does the sex of the child matter? I'm asking y'all, what y'all think? Does it matter if they're a male or female? Whether you are going to have that conversation? You know what I mean? And does it matter if you a mom and ain't no dad around? Or there is no male around? Does it matter if you're going to have to talk with your daughters or your son? Are you going to have it differently? I think you probably, I don't know if you have it differently, man. But for me, I think, and I guess I'll pose another question. Does their personality or social rank play a factor? Honestly, if your son is the star quarterback of the varsity football team in the 9th grade, he's probably going to have some pussy thrown his way. If your daughter is outgoing and really attractive, she's probably going to have the older niggas swinging her way more than, or if your daughter is developed and has closer to a grown woman body or has grown early, y'all know what I'm trying to say, then niggas, not only the niggas in high school, when she outside, are probably gonna be trying to get that at an earlier period due to her personality or social rank. So I think it definitely plays a factor. You should definitely take that in consideration, how popular your kid is, what type of activities they're into. Because let's just be honest, like, even though you can try to be like a non-biased person and, well, I don't want to look at people like that. The coolest people get the most pussy. That's just what it is. Or, I'm sorry, the coolest people get the most opportunity at pussy. The coolest people. And usually, I said the star athlete, he don't necessarily have to be cool later on in life. But when we're younger, it's a certain things you identify with cool. And that is an accomplishment if you're the star quarterback. So, but cool is usually what gets you the pussy in your looks as well as your kind of your confidence in high school. Because there was some girls who parents just didn't know how to dress them. Who y'all know what I'm talking about? The girls who, I almost want to say your name. I'm telling y'all, this girl was like, she'd be in like one of them Bernstein Bears books, like, you know what I'm saying, on the book about being mean, or the episode about mean to the underprivileged kid. One time I had third period with her. Her jeans were wet to her knees. And I said, what is going on with your jeans? And she said, oh, I had to walk to school this morning. Y'all know it rained for 40 days and 40 nights that year. And she stayed by the other high school. First of all, you don't know nobody who can get you a ride. Second of all, motherfucker, stay home. But she felt like that wasn't an option. Her jeans were wet to her knees. And like nobody thought of her as anything they would do anything with besides get fellatio, which is crazy to be doing that in high school, but it happens so much. You blowing multiple guys. Anyway, she grew up to be fine, y'all. Fine. But most times, in order for you to get that type of attention, you have to look good and you have to have an outgoing personality as a female. And they probably going to be swinging your way. So if that's your child, you should probably look into having that conversation a little earlier. He had 214 yards, rushing yards. Sit him down. Because if you don't, that varsity cheerleader will. You understand me? If your daughter is on the varsity cheer team and is the lead of that, and she young and she's outgoing all that, have the talk to her. Because Darrell is the nigga who, he not the leading scorer on the basketball team or the second leading scorer or even the leading rebounder. But he good at just enough stuff and he throw the parties. So he might not be on your radar. He only 6'1". He ain't really in the papers like that. But Darrell gonna notice her, man. Had that conversation. I'm telling you. And so who should approach who? Should you have came to your parent and like, yo, this is going on with me and I kind of want to have a conversation about sex? Or should you approach them? Honestly. Because if you ain't done it, you ain't done it. What you waiting on? You think your son gonna come home like, man, sometime, yo, like, sometime my dick get hard. You know what I mean? Your son not gonna come home and say that. It's not gonna happen. Like, it's just not gonna happen. They're not gonna come home and tell you like, yo, ooh, this make me feel away. So you should probably approach them, yo. It's not gonna happen where they're gonna come to you. But y'all could answer differently. But I'll ask y'all, who should approach who about the birds and bees conversation? And if you didn't bring it up, and this is another time where I want you to verbally answer aloud. Why did you not bring it up? This is the part where I talk less and just do more listening. You know, this is an interactive podcast. Why did you not have the conversation? I seen your socials. You talk about what the fuck you eat. You talk about your job. You talk about your vacation. You talk about when your kids graduate. You talk about every year you want to show me what they wore on their first day to school. Honestly, they first day of elementary, go ahead and post it. They growing up, 4th, 5th grade, post another one. Graduation, cool. I don't want to see your kid every time they go back to school. Don't you know that's what they're supposed to do? Is go back to school? And every year you want to show me this motherfucker? Yeah, other people want to say it, but they ain't going to say it. I don't want to see your kid every year on back to school. And the issue is, it's getting too many likes. We got to the point with social media where y'all just like anything for support, but it's fake support. I don't even know your kid. Me and you was only friends on social media because you know somebody who I know somebody. The algorithms put us together. Why would I care about what your kid wore to the 4th fucking grade? You made a collage. You doubled back. Oh, don't let them have multiple kids. Oh, we decided to go with this year. Man, nobody asked you your motherfucking fashion choices. But you do all that talking. You do all that talking, but they ain't want to have a conversation with your most important being about something that can affect both of your lives forever. Forever. Sandlot. Also, I'm gonna add this to the list. I'm asking y'all, have y'all kids seen Sandlot, the original one, and Above the Rim? We get into a dangerous point. I asked a 15-year-old the other day, he never seen Above the Rim, and he played basketball. It's getting scary. But yeah, you do all that motherfucker. Damn, let me watch my mouth. You do all that talking, but ain't talk to your kid about something that's so important. Ain't that wild? That seems wild to me. That's a little wild. But hey, that's on you, brother or sister. And I know why you didn't do it. Because it can get a little uncomfortable. Yes, the conversation is uncomfortable. Honestly, I felt my daughter being a little uncomfortable. At points, I was a little uncomfortable in the conversation. But y'all know I'm going to ask y'all a question. Is being uncomfortable having to talk worth not having to talk? Like you that prideful where one, you not willing to be uncomfortable around your child. Y'all got that a lot too, where y'all ain't willing to be uncomfortable around your mate talking about the love of your life. But post them all the time. But ain't got the nerve to be really, really comfortable around them and really, really vulnerable. But back to the kids. Y'all piss me off. Not the kids, the adults. You uncomfortable having this conversation. Cool, I understand. It can be uncomfortable. But is it worth not having the conversation? Your ego mean that much where you can't make yourself feel small for the bigger picture. Think about it. Your ego mean that much. You would talk to your boss about a raise, about what's going on. You would talk to your friend about how they man is doing them wrong or how he need to leave her. You would talk to that. You would talk to them about their relationships. You would talk to them about how they parent, but you won't talk to your shorty about sex because it make you uncomfortable. Come on, man. Y'all piss me off with that. Come on, man. And not saying that you do it on purpose. Yes, I am saying that you do it on purpose. You don't want to be uncomfortable, so you just don't have a conversation. And you knew you didn't have a conversation. That's like your dad not being around, and then well, never mind. I ain't going to get into that. It's a cycle. Yeah, you want to start a cycle? Even if you got lucky. Listen, y'all. Come on, man, because a lot of y'all be fronting. A lot of y'all listening, and me, a lot of y'all listening, have only God in your lucky stars to think that you do not have more children or have not caught a STD. Where you think you find them at? In vagina, in dick. And you didn't have a lot of that. I get a lot of that. A lot of people didn't have a lot of that or a decent amount. It don't matter. It ain't got to be a lot. It can be 5, 6, whatever. And that's never happened to you. That ain't nothing by the grace of God. So you want to continue that cycle that you didn't have a conversation because, woo, skated by and have a baby to 28. Woo. And have a baby till I was established. Woo. Never had to hit that doctor. Because you skated by because of the grace of God, you just going to be like, get us one more time, Lord. If he does it again, strike him down. Like, come on, man. Is being uncomfortable worth not having to talk? Somebody going to be uncomfortable. I'm just going to tell you right now. Even if you don't get uncomfortable, your child is going to get uncomfortable. They may try to shut down in that situation because of their being uncomfortable. So you have to be understanding to that point, but there's a bigger picture that must be had. So you don't have to push the gas. Come back another time, whatever. Or you might be the one that's uncomfortable because they might tell you, well, I already had sex once. Dads, your daughter might tell you, well, no, I never had sex, but I did go down on a guy. Oh my God. Oh my God. I walked in here to tell you about kissing and second base and what? So now I'm mad uncomfortable. But me being uncomfortable is not worth her going out there and doing it to the rest of the football team or not understanding her value. You know what I'm saying? You being uncomfortable. Somebody's going to be uncomfortable. I can guarantee you that. Somebody going to be uncomfortable in a situation. And oftentimes it happens in negotiations, but it's a lot of situations where you walk into where you're willing to be uncomfortable. Especially with your partner. You only knew this motherfucker 3 months. I'm sorry. You only knew this person 3 months. And y'all are so enthralled in this argument going back and forth where you willing to be uncomfortable because you didn't gave them money, whatever the case may be. But you ain't willing to be uncomfortable. I ain't saying vulnerable. It's a difference. But you're not willing to be uncomfortable or vulnerable with your child. Being uncomfortable cannot be worth not having to talk. Because my thing is, shouldn't it be us who introduces our kids to sex? Should it be you? The person who going to be raising the grandbaby no matter what you say? The person who going to be dealing with anything that comes with or around what happens for the rest of that child's life, because that's what you signed up for. Shouldn't you and your wife, or you and your husband, or you and your baby daddy, or you and your baby mama, shouldn't y'all be the ones having a conversation about something so important that you know is going to happen? You know what's going to happen. They kill me when we know stuff is going to happen and we just act like it just ain't. Like life insurance and like Dallas highways. Dallas, Texas highways and streets, let me tell you something, are not built for rain. And I don't know if y'all know this, but rain is the only thing that happens year round. It's the only thing. It ain't going to snow in June. It's not. You're not getting no ice in June. It's a bunch of weather conditions that you're not going to get. Hurricane season is not going to come in different times. But rain comes every fucking season or every month. Why are the highways not equipped for something that's gonna happen? Why are you not gonna talk to your kids about something you know they're gonna cross paths with? In the same way with drugs. My parents didn't have a conversation with me about drugs. They should have. Now, luckily, I wasn't involved in drugs as a youngster. But, I mean, I grew into doing whatever it is that I do. They watching. They got Diddy. You ain't gonna get me what was in them baby oil bottles. I think it was baby oil. Y'all tripping. But the drug conversation the same way, and I had to have it with my daughter because it's new drugs out now that I ain't have access to. So I'm gonna let you know right now, I smoke weed. And I start smoking weed as an adult. I'm gonna have a whole conversation with you. You can use, misuse, or abuse weed. I don't know what's in none of that other stuff, but I know it'll be killing people. So I know you're going to know somebody that's on it. But that other stuff that they on, them pills and all that, yo, you got to be careful with that. So you should have a conversation, but that's another podcast. But it's along the same lines. Why not you? Shouldn't it be you who have the conversation with your kids about sex and drugs? It would be stupid for you to that's stupid, guys. It would be stupid for you to let anybody else have that responsibility. That's a part of raising your kid, as uncomfortable as you may be. Or fuck it, just let rap music do it, right? Just let rap music do it. Or social media. And I shouldn't have laughed at this, but I was refereeing, and a young man, they probably was 11, no, younger than that, probably like 9, 10. Young man's shoe came off. And he trying to put it on without tying it back. So, he trying to stuff his foot in there, And his teammates, they like, yo, just untie it, or no, you got to do it like this. And a dude from the other team said this: you got to hock two of that joint. I smacked him. I backed him in his chest. Boy, Don't be saying that, but then we share the laugh because it was funny. But you shouldn't, and I don't even know if you know what that means, but you shouldn't be saying that. You shouldn't be singing WAP. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't know all these things that come from. So fuck it. Just let social media or rap teach your kids about sex. Since you're uncomfortable having a conversation, just let YG do it. You know what I'm saying? Let YG do it, cuz. Or let some of these the TikTok videos. I hate all the TikTok songs that get popular. Let Tommy Lee, what's his name? I don't even know the nigga name. Let him teach your kid about sex. Or let Lil Baby do it. Since you uncomfortable doing it. Because they going to talk about it. Especially the female rappers. So let Lotto tell her about it. Fuck it, bro. You tried, right? No, you did not try. So I'm going to wrap it up. But as uncomfortable as it may be, you should be the one talking to your child about sex and other important things in their life. You want to get on them so bad about going to school and doing their homework and, hey, I want you to go to college and all this. This is real life that's going to come past your front door. We try to run from real life a lot. This is real life. This is stuff that's going to happen. The stuff that happened to you, you know what's going to happen to your child. And probably twofold more. But even if it's the same amount, you know what's going to happen. So you got to have these conversations, man. It don't matter how you feel in the moment. Because a lot of the times we have to grow into being cooler with our parents because we don't know what we talking about when we're younger. And you find I was going to say with women, but it's just period with fathers and their sons as well. You grow into a understanding of the person and an understanding of life. So you will think back and be like, wow, I understood why that person did that. Even if I didn't agree with how they did it, I understood why they did that. But at the time, I didn't understand. And I brought this up before. But for me, it was Mortal Kombat 3 on Sega Genesis. And I think Mortal Kombat 2 Mortal Kombat 2 was a big hit. So the release of Mortal Kombat 3 was a big deal. And I think it had been released. We played it. And me and my brother really, really wanted Mortal Kombat 3. And somehow, some way, my dad seen somebody playing it. And don't y'all know this man said, no, I ain't buying y'all that. Why not? Because he didn't have no problem buying this video game. So we was confused. Why not? They be hitting women on that game. I'm like, dog, it's just a character. Chun-Li nice, nigga. Like, no, she be hitting men, nigga. Chun-Li nice with them things. But I'm like, it's just a character. And you know what I'm saying? Video games he wasn't out in the area when his younger era, they didn't have video games like that. So it wasn't that big of a deal for him, video games. If you don't get that game, it's not that big of a deal. But the concept, as I grew older, I respect so much. You wouldn't let me get this game because you just didn't want a seed planted in my head that it was cool to hit women. You seen that, and that's what transpired in your head. And you did not want nobody else to be able to pass that down. So you wanted to make sure and you've had that conversation before, but you want to make sure to input that into your children. You do not hit women. So although I was disappointed and he couldn't let us get the game, as I grew older, I realized why he did what he did. And I appreciated it, and it made me grow cooler with him and have a deeper respect for him. So I'm saying that to say these times where you may be uncomfortable having these conversations about sex with your child, a lot of those instances will ring out again as they get older. A lot of times where I didn't do stuff, it wasn't because I thought I was going to get in trouble by somebody else or I thought I was going to get caught. But I thought if I was going to get caught, how disappointed my parent would be. So if I had this conversation with you, this distinct conversation about sex with you, an honest conversation too, because you got to be honest. You got to be honest. You got to I tell my kids, sex does feel good. Honestly, sex does feel good. But it don't feel that good to spend all your money, to not have no money. It don't feel that good to not have no time. It don't feel that good to be beefing with somebody because y'all wasn't in love. Y'all know nothing about nothing. And you ain't know nothing about their family. They know nothing about your family. So now it's beef between y'all and the kids. And now it's going down to the kid. And don't nothing feel good about that. So sex feel good, but it don't feel that good. It don't feel good. It don't feel good enough to give up all your rights or to give up some of your rights. And when you become a parent, you're not giving up some of your rights, but you choosing to neglect them for the betterment of that household. So I'm saying that to say, be honest with your kids. Like, and that's another thing. Like, we all know the church, the pastor daughter is the one who's going to give it up the fastest and the most. Because a lot of times in the black churches, because I can't speak to white churches, but a lot of times in the black churches, it used to be condemned for doing this. You bet not. Condemn, condemn, condemn. Meanwhile, some of the congregation, not all of them, not half of them, but some of the congregation is getting down with each other. Getting down, or just freaks, whatever the case may be. So that's why you got to be honest, because the pastor daughter, them preachers' kids, they gon' you already know. They invented, never mind. But yeah, if you just talk down on them, same thing with drugs. If you just talk like, you better, if you do drugs or have done drugs, you better let them know that you have done it. You better let them know, because a lot of the times, if you don't let somebody know that you've been in that situation, they don't want to take advice from you in that situation. I'm not going to take advice about women from a guy who don't have the ability to get a lot of women. Say what you want about a male hoe or whatever. He know a little bit. He may use it for evil, but he done been around the block or two. And same thing as a female. I don't even hear your opinion about cheating, about none of that. If you ain't never cheated, you ain't never been cheated on, you ain't never fucked around, baby girl. What you say? Old girl with the 3 kids. Word. Or old girl who, yeah. It's gonna happen. These things are gonna cross your child's path. So don't act like they're not gonna happen, and don't also sugarcoat shit. If you don't tell them the truth, somebody else will. And that's honesty. And we're gonna move on to the quote of the day, man. From Friday in 1995. What Debo tell him? Come get knocked out like your father used to, Craig. And Craig dad had a whole conversation with him about what he used to do. In that fight where he was about to kill my man, he had thought of what his dad told him what he used to do in that moment. What I just talked about. I know it's cinema, but that's how it happens in real life. He had that thought, but you live. You live to fight another day. And I'm saying that to say, let him into your past real fast. No matter what your past was, ain't no reason to be embarrassed around your kids. So if you was letting them off and was a hoe, you need to let them know that, as well as the negatives that came along with that. Or just let them into your past, what really happened, honestly. Because a lot of that made you who you was. Dang, I don't want to put on personal business out. Yeah, I'm not going to put a personal business out. But somebody real close to me grew up fast. When I say fast, not necessarily with women, but just was grown outside. But they just can't see it. You know what I'm saying? But let them into your past on what you was doing previously. Get knocked out like your father used to, Craig. What was you doing at 16, 17? Be honest now. Because a lot of the times, the generations and the style change. So a lot of your kids don't even understand that you had swag or that you got the motion now, because y'all got 2 different types of swag. My dad used to say stupid stuff like, yo, why don't you wear a suit to school? Nigga, why don't you jump in the river? What is you talking about? But that's what they used to do. So a lot of the times your child may not be able to identify that you was cool. And again, if you ain't never had the type of love thrown your way that I'm getting thrown my way, Dad, I don't want to hear what you got to say. You was a lame nigga, lame ass nigga. If you're a young nigga, you might say that to you, lame ass dad. He ain't want to listen to you. So you're going to have to let him into your past on who you really was, on the stuff that you really went through the first time you tried drugs, or it was offered to you, or what happened to those people who tried those drugs, or what happened to those people who was fucking early, or whatever. Let him into the real life you, not no stuff that you seen on TV or well, nah, this is what happened. Let him in. Act like your father used to, Craig. And to love yourself, love somebody else. Accept where you went wrong in your past. And that's not just with your kids. That's with your relationships. That's with your education. That's with your job choices. That's with the decisions that you have made in your life. Accept that you have made the wrong decision in your past. Accept it. You made the wrong decision. Ain't no use of running from it. You fucked her over, bro. She was a good girl. She was a good girl, and you done her wrong. He was a good guy, and you left him just because the other guy had more status. Or because your parents didn't like him. You made a mistake. You shouldn't have left that job. You should have went to college. You should have dropped out of college. Whatever it is, you made that mistake, but you made it. Go ahead and accept it and move on from it. But not acknowledging it as a mistake or a misstep is not going to help you. Because I don't like when people act like, well, it's a part of my path. Yeah, it was a part of your path, but it was also a mistake. Because if we going along and it's just like, no, that's just hot. No, you got to understand that we have free will and free choice, and we do make mistakes. And a lot of times we learn from those mistakes. And the quicker that you accept that it was a mistake, the quicker you will learn from it. Because if you're not accepting responsibility, then you're not going to learn from that mistakes. And I already told y'all the road to success is lined with L's. A bunch of L's on the side of the road to success. So you got to be willing to accept and understand you made that mistake and what it done for you. And a lot of times if you don't accept it, you haven't got to that point. But once you get to that point, you're like, damn, I can accept it. You haven't got to that point. But once you get to that point, you're like, damn, I can accept it. And that goes to the same thing with it's separate, but bring shame back. Bring shame back. For some reason, we let shame go out the window. Ain't nobody ashamed of nothing no more. Never mind. I'm sorry. Love yourself and accept that you did wrong, man. Okay? Because that's not the end of anything. You did wrong, so what? And then love somebody else is speak to people who look like they don't want to be spoken to. Because a lot of them times, either they just ain't got nobody to speak to, so they ain't used to nobody speaking to them. Or they want to give off an impression that they something different than a normal human being. Everybody in my community who I cross paths with, I'm going to speak to. Because for one, you don't own this area, and you ain't finna affect my mood. What's up? And if they don't speak back, they expecting the second time for me to not speak again. What's up? Nigga, you in my area. I'm a courteous, generous person. I'm going to speak to my neighbor. I speak to all my neighbors. I'm Alonzo in every hood I move to. I'm telling y'all. But wherever I go, speak to somebody who don't look like they want to be spoken to. And aside from the people that just want to be mean, a lot of people, some people, they get older, whatever, they don't have nobody who really care about them, man. And just speaking to them, hey, how you doing, would make somebody's day. I know it sounds crazy because you got 893 Instagram followers and you do all that talking and people always responding to your posts and all that. Some people just don't have that. So speak to somebody who don't look like they want to be spoken to, because they might just want to be spoken to. And plus, furthermore, if you're the type of person that speaks, don't let somebody else take away your mood. I always tell people, listen, you ain't got nothing to do with me liking you. I like you. You can't stop me from liking you. Motherfucker, I like you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even had to say nothing to you. I like the person that you are. You can't, and nothing you can do make me not like you. That's on you that you don't like that I like you. I like the person that you are. I like speaking to everybody. So speak to people who don't look like they're going to be spoken to. I know it sounds crazy, but just try it out. Report back. Let me know. And definitely speak to your kids about sex or anything that's going to affect their life in the long run. Come on, man. Until the next time, I enjoyed y'all. I told y'all this one was going to be, you know what I mean? This one was going to be one today. But you know you cannot keep it a buck without making sense. You heard? You're about your word. Always keep that shit a buck. And if a test your bloodline, stand for yours. The only thing that matters in this world, who wanted more luck. Never not believed in me. That's just how I'm cut. Be a man about your word. Always keep that shit a buck. And if